Greetings, my name is Edin, alongside with my beautiful wife Melinda. We are known as Hustlin' Hooks here and on Instagram. We are part-time resellers, meaning that we don't do this as our main income for now. We have ambitions to grow our business into a multi-million dollar business way down the line, and this is our journey.
This video is called Road to 100K, and this is the first of 3 videos that we wanted to put together to share what our journey looked like and some things that we think are important when starting an eBay business to sell your first $100,000. Our goal is to share with new sellers some things that they might want to plan ahead and maybe some pitfalls to avoid when they're starting their business up.
In our business model, we primarily take gently used goods off of areas like Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, friends and family, curbside, etc. And we flip them for profit on platforms such as eBay. It took us about 15 months to get over $100,000 in sales. And out of that $100,000 that we sold, our net income was $66,000. So roughly 66% of our gross sales are net profit. And it took 2,456 sales to get there. So let's jump into the 3 subjects that we want to cover in this video.
So the first subject that we want to talk about is sacrifice, because that's a big one. It's something that you are going to have to do if you want to make a good amount of money, or even if you just want to get any store up and running consistently.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, sacrifice means that it's instead of A, B, C, insert what you really enjoy doing, whatever that is, playing disc golf, watching football, hanging out with your friends, whatever, going golfing with your buddies, shopping, whatever that is, you have to take that time and devote it to this business, especially if you're starting off part-time, which is where most people start.
Right. So if it is something that you're hoping to grow, you have to look at your schedule and see where there's time to fit it in. And that could be a sacrifice. It could be an hour before your kids go to bed where you're sacrificing some family time for a little while. Otherwise, you're going to be sacrificing some sleep, because then you're going to be like we do, you're going to fit it in after your kids go to bed.
Yeah, and it all depends. And that's the beauty of doing this. Like, having an online store, e-commerce store, doesn't require you to be in one set location for X amount of time. It's extremely flexible. It's like all of those silly commercials you see on YouTube where they say, do you want to be your own boss? Do you want to pick your hours? That's the reality. The reality is that you can do that. You can pick and choose when you want to get stuff done. And I think the term sacrifice is one that just gets kind of thrown around. I mean, it just has to be something that you want to do. Like, if you really truly want to do this, you have to sacrifice. You have to say no to your family. You have to say no to your friends. You have to say no to your laziness, that laziness that's inside of all of us that just wants to say, well, it's time for me to kick up my feet and have a beer. You have to say no to that. And that's that discipline and sacrifice that I think play really, hand in hand with each other.
Right. And there's what we always say is we're going to sacrifice now so that we have a lot more time together later. And again, this is different for every business model. Everybody who's watching this, maybe you're just looking for a smaller store or to make a little income on the side.
Sure.
So take everything we're saying and you have to apply it to your own situation. But when you are getting started, you do have to find that time. So if you don't have any extra money in your budget, then you're going to have to sacrifice little extras.
Right.
Maybe you're saving up the $5 you maybe would spend on a Starbucks every morning, or you don't take that extra vacation this year and you take that money instead and you decide to put that into your first purchasing cost until you can snowball. So sacrifice is going to look different depending on everybody's situation.
Yeah, so sacrifice for us. So let's talk about the sacrifice that we've made. So we literally started reselling when we had a child. Like, Melinda and I went to our first garage sale as a family when our kid was 5 days old. Mm-hmm. And then for us, sacrifice was, well, first we have to take care of our family, and then we're going to devote our extra time into this business as we want to grow this. And I think that's really important because honestly, like it got to a point where I would come home from work and I wouldn't give Monda enough relief. And that was really a strenuous part of our relationship for a part of time until we sat down and discussed it and talked about it, and where I had to admit and say, look, I am doing way too much for eBay. I'm not doing enough for my family, and we need to change this. So we put a schedule together that basically says, 5 to 8 o'clock, it's family time, and then 8 until our feet hurt, then we go to bed, right? So it's going to be different, like Melinda said, for everyone. That's just our example of sacrifice.
Yeah, and if you are a follower of us on Instagram, you know that we are just constantly putting in long nights. So instead of hanging out together watching TV after Jessica goes to bed,
Right.
we work together in our eBay room. We're photographing, listening to music, checking comms, doing these videos.
Shoes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that all takes away, and that's, again, if you want it, it's going to take sacrifice. And I think
that's right. You do have to keep that long-term vision always in the back of your mind of what you want.
Yeah, it sucks now, but look past that, right? The thing too, that if you're like just trying to make money to get out of debt, just look at it this way. Well, it sucks now, but once I'm out of debt, well, then my purchasing power goes up, just like a large company. Well, then stress goes down in my relationship because I don't have to stress so much about drowning in debt. And oh, wait a minute, now I can afford these nicer things where I would have to finance them before. So think about it that way.
And you gain a lot of freedom because then your boss doesn't have that handle on you as much anymore if you're still working full-time for someone else.
Or part-time, yeah, for sure.
That's a big negotiating skill.
All right, subject number 2 we want to cover in this video is patience. Patience with yourself, patience with the business. So let's talk about that.
So one thing to keep in mind is that it does take time to build your store up. Everybody starts at 0. You're not going to start having a sale overnight, 2 sales overnight. You're certainly not going to all of a sudden have 5 sales overnight,
right,
unless you have stumbled across a gold mine of a product that everybody wants. So you have to be patient and put in the time it takes to add items to your store. We go by a 1% rule. Every day we're selling about 1% of our inventory. So if we had 500 things for sale, we were selling 5 on average per day. The more that you add to your store, that number is going to go up. So it just depends how much time you have to get that. And quality listings, keep that in mind. They do have to be quality listings. You can't just throw a bunch of stuff up on your store and expect suddenly to be selling it. It's got to be stuff people want.
Right, and that's like when it comes to that patience, it goes right hand in hand again with sacrifice. How much time are you sacrificing for this? Are you utilizing that time efficiently? And are you actually putting in items in the store that people want, things that are in demand? Nobody wants CDs anymore unless they're rare. Nobody wants vinyls anymore unless they're collectible. Nobody wants store brand stuff, so they want to buy stuff that's expensive. That's patience. Learning those brands, that's patience. Getting those listings up, it's patience. So that 1% rule, let me read off the examples of how that really worked for us, literally starting at 0. I'm reading these numbers right off of our Instagram. I made a post about this a while ago now. This was back August 19th, so a few months ago. Take a look at that if you'd like to actually see the numbers and see if it actually makes sense to you. So our month 1, so we consider month 1 September of 2019. On average, in the entire month, we had 88 listings for sale. Obviously, in the beginning of September, it was close to 30, and towards the end, it was closer to 100, but the average listing was 88. And look, we were selling 1.1 things a day. Some days we were selling 2, some days we sold 0. That's patience. Month 2, average 221 listings, 2.4 sales a day. Month 3 and 4 were very similar. We had about 350 average listings, and we sold 4.1 things a day. Now, I won't go through the entire list, but I'll go to month number 12. We had an average of 646 listed items, and we sold 7.7 things a day. So we were actually beating our 1% rule.
But you get the idea. The more you build it, the more you will sell. You have to add inventory to build it.
And you get better and better. Month 7, we were beating the 1% rule because we got much better. We weren't listing some things that we thought were good at the beginning, like Beanie Babies, right?
Yeah.
Everybody goes through the Beanie Babies phase of reselling. And then you realize that that stuff is junk and most of it is worthless. And then your 1% is turning into 1.5%. And maybe if you're excellent, maybe you're selling 2% a day, right? That's patience for you.
And another part of patience is store reviews. That's actually a very big part of having a successful store, because the more positive reviews that you have, the more trust that you are building with future buyers. And it does take a while to build up those reviews. I think we got 1 review for maybe every 4 things that we sold.
Roughly.
And that's maybe even a high estimate. It took a very long time to build it up where people could see our history and trust us as buyers.
Yeah, on average, we're getting, so we've sold like 2,700 items on eBay, roughly, maybe 2,600 so far. And I think right now we're at like 860 reviews. So it's less than half. What's that, like 35% or so, roughly, if I'm just doing it in my head. So yeah, that takes time. And the more you sell, obviously, the more you increase your chances of getting positive review if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And we've covered that, but be honest, disclose any flaws, test your stuff, don't gamble when you're looking for positive reviews.
That's right. And the last touch point on patience is you have to be patient with yourself.
Right.
You are not going to start knowing everything about a category, any category. Maybe you are, maybe you're transitioning from like an antique world or something, but the idea is you do get better at it over time. The more things you deal with, the more situations you come across, the more things you sell, the more returns you get, you're going to get better at every aspect that you do repeatedly.
As long as you're mentally strong, it's 100% true. The items that we've sold, so that 2,700 items that we've sold, like what do you think is the actual number of items we've touched that we left at the thrift store, left at the garage sale, looked up and decided to pass on it? It's got to be close to like 10,000 items.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got 2,700 sold, 850 listed. So you're right over at like, 3,600 items there.
I don't even.
Unprocessed.
I can't even guess.
Yeah. So we've probably touched like 10,000 things to get to get to 100,000 in sales. And that's patience. Passing on all those items, that requires patience. I could make $7 on this. Well, why don't I leave it and look for something I can make $17 on instead? That requires patience. The third and final subject we wanted to cover in this video is goals. Knowing your goals, setting your goals, and staying true to your goals. One thing I'm going to right off the bat say is do not fall in the pitfall of comparison, because everyone has different goals. Hobby sellers, part-time sellers, full-time sellers, multi-million-dollar corporations, small companies, big companies, everyone has different goals.
Really be honest with yourself. Sit down, make it an actual moment with yourself, and think about your reasons. If it's, I want to get rich quick, this is not the path for you. Don't walk down this road. But if you want to do it because you enjoy thrifting and you enjoy giving life to new products, and you do maybe want to take an extra vacation a year, or you have a strong goal, you really want to pay off some debt that you picked up along the way, then this could be an option. This could be a very viable option to do those things.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, what is your goal? Write it down on a piece of paper, talk it over with your partner, figure out if it's attainable, figure out if you really like it. And there are a lot of things that people love about reselling, and then there's a lot of it that they don't love about reselling. They don't love accounting, they don't love returns, they don't love customer service, they don't love packaging, right? So those 4 categories, I think we can tie those into sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice your time, your patience to learn those skill sets so that you have the ability to utilize them and really make a profitable business out of it, even if you're just doing it part-time?
Yeah, and knowing your goals will keep you going when you have to do those things that you don't like doing as part of it.
In summary, Be realistic with yourself. Make sure that you have those goals set, that they actually make sense with you, your family, your partner, whoever. Make sure you actually like it. Like honestly, like
Yeah.
I love it. I love every single thing about it. I love the fact that we're able to work together. I love that we're able to build a family business. I love the fact that we're generating revenue without the help of anyone else. That's independence. I love that. Do I like staying up until 3 a.m. bubble wrapping speakers? No. Do I love doing journal entries? No. Do you?
I don't do the journal entries. That's a bad example.
Well, I guess, what don't you love about it?
I don't like the packaging.
Yeah.
That's my least favorite part for sure. It takes a lot of time and just eats into your day.
But you have to do it.
I have to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Once you sell it, you got to send it off.
Right. There's no point of keeping it. That's not the point.
And these three things that we just talked about, really, they can be applied to any business that you're starting,
Right.
not just resale. If there's something else that you really enjoy doing that can make you some money on the side and then eventually a full-time business,
Right.
these are still things that you're going to have to know. You're still going to have to know your goals. It's still going to take time to build any business,
Right.
and you're still going to have to put the time in to build it.
Yeah, for sure. I think honestly, like even if it's not business related, if you're trying to get good at something, those three are super important, and it just requires time. People don't get there, right? Nobody just gets there. It's these are fundamentals that you have to look into for sure.
Anyways, those are our first and probably top three that we think people should know before diving into starting a new business. We hope it was helpful. We hope it gave you some insight into what it looks like at the beginning when you're first getting going.
Right.
And we hope to share more with you.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Again, 3-part series, Road to 100K. We'll discuss the next 3 subject matters in the next one. As always, we appreciate you spending time with us. Leave a comment below on some of the most important aspects of reselling that you think should make the list, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if there's anything specific, any specific questions that you have about starting, leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to touch on them in our next video.
We'll see you later. Thank you.
Take care.